Welcome back to ACB Wrestling Talk, your main source for wrestling news and wrestling discussions. I am, of course, your host, Alexis Carrillo, and let's get into some wrestling talk. After what transpired last night on Monday Night Raw, it's fair to say that WWE fans should be looking forward to what's going to go down this Wednesday night on another episode of NXT. With this whole NXT invasion being captained by the founder of NXT himself, Triple H. And we've seen NXT invade SmackDown on Friday. We saw it last night on Raw. They invaded the Red brand. It's going to be interesting to see what the response comes from either the Blue brand or the Red brand on Wednesday night's live broadcast on the USA Network. And the fact of the matter is that this NXT invasion, this rewrite of SmackDown this past Friday could be quite possibly one of the best things to happen to WWE programming in a long time, because I, for one, and this is just me speaking, I am very excited as to what's going to go down the next few weeks and what's going to go down at Survivor Series 3 weeks from now with all the matches that they've announced. Number one, they've announced this triple threat match between the women's division's champions of all three brands, Becky Lynch versus Bayley versus Shayna Baszler. And with all due respect to Bayley, I know she has a brand new character, a brand new attitude to her whole persona. But the real money, and I said this on my Twitter account last night, the real money is definitely got to be the man Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. That is where the money is. And if there was any doubt as to if that is true, then just look at last night's promo where Baszler simply just held her own against Becky Lynch. She looked like a star, and she looked like a formidable opponent for Becky Lynch, not only for Survivor Series, but for the very near future, which I've got to say, Shayna Baszler has been ready for the main roster for quite some time now. It's going to be interesting to see if they keep her in NXT any longer, or if they just pull the trigger and bring her up to Monday Night Raw, because I want to see Lynch versus Baszler for the next few months. I want to see this at WrestleMania even. We just have to wait and see. And again, with all due respect to Bayley, she's going to get possibly her response this Wednesday on NXT, possibly on Friday, because she was the object of an attack this past Friday. So again, just have to wait and see what Bayley has to say about all this situation. Again, triple threat tag team match between the tag team champions of all brands. The Raw tag team champions, the Viking Raiders, which I gotta say, they've gotta stop putting them against these jobbers. There's no-name tag teams that they keep putting them against. I get it, you want to put them over. You want to put them over as this top tag team, but it's working against you. Okay, and I get it, you don't want to squash the tag teams that you have. That's not the point. You don't squash them. You put them in the match, you put them in that ring in a match against the Raw Tag Team Champions, and you have the Raw Tag Team Champions look strong. They beat their opponents, and you make their opponents look strong by putting up a fighting chance against the Raw Tag Team Champions. That's what you do. You don't bring out the Chicago Cubs last week and this 10-pole tag team, or whatever their name was, last night. It's ridiculous. It's non-watchable. I pretty much tune out when I see a no-name jobber tag team on Monday Night Raw against the tag team champions. I'd understand if the Viking Raiders were just debuting and they were just trying to make a point, but they're the damn tag team champs. They should not be having this type of competition. But anyway, they're going to be facing off against the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Revival. That's yet to be confirmed, because this Friday they defend their tag team titles against the teams of the New Day in Kofi Kingston and Big E. That might change. And the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, who made quite a statement on Monday Night Raw along with the rest of the NXT roster. Along with that, they've also announced a very predictable match, to say the least, at Survivor Series. Rey Mysterio challenges WWE Champion Brock Lesnar for the title at Survivor Series. Number one, it's very clear that, at least in storyline purposes, Brock Lesnar does not care about Raw. He does not care about SmackDown. That's been made clear. So it wouldn't make much sense to have him representing any brand at Survivor Series, and so he has to defend his WWE Championship. Unfortunately for Lesnar, and unfortunately for WWE fans, it's against Rey Mysterio. And nothing against Rey Mysterio. He's a fan favorite. He's a phenomenal wrestler. But, if we look at the recent history of Brock Lesnar and the WWE Championship, let's see. He squashed Kofi Kingston in 11 seconds on the main event of SmackDown on Fox, the premiere episode of SmackDown on Fox. Kofi Kingston is a tad bit bigger than Rey Mysterio. And this past Thursday at Crown Jewel, Brock Lesnar, you could say, squashed Cain Velasquez in 2, 3, 4 minutes. So, it's, at least in my mind, it's fair to say that Rey Mysterio is going to get squashed against Lesnar at Survivor Series, and that's just it. The one saving grace for Rey Mysterio is to have Lesnar continue to play out this quote-unquote injury at the hands of Rey Mysterio with that, a lead pipe last night on Raw. That's pretty much the only saving grace, but at the end of the day, the result will be the same. Lesnar will retain, and Rey Mysterio, well, he'll just have to move on with his son Dominic in the future as a tag team. So that's what happened last night on Raw. Moving on to a different topic, All Elite Wrestling announced a special Dynamite anniversary show. Now, if you're wondering how are they, how's it been a year since they debuted on TNT? Well, they just debuted on TNT just a month ago. Is it a month anniversary? No, it's an anniversary, and it's going to be taking place on January 8th, 2020 at the Lander Center in South Haven, Mississippi. And it's not the anniversary show for Dynamite on TNT. It's the anniversary show of the announcement of All Elite Wrestling, of the founding of the company, All Elite Wrestling. That's the anniversary show, and apparently it's going to be taking place on TNT. So other than that, we've got to say this seems like a ratings grab. Nothing against AEW, nothing against WWE, but the fact of the matter is, whenever they announce a special show, even when they had the 20th anniversary, they premiere on SmackDown on Fox, that was a ratings grab, and they definitely grabbed ratings. I believe the same could be said about this Dynamite anniversary show on January 8th, 2020. So, with that said, nothing much to look forward to, because, again, it's a couple of months away. We'll just have to wait and see who walks out as champions during that entire show. And on yesterday's show, we talked about this entire controversy of WWE and Saudi Arabia and what happened at Crown Jewel, and talent being held up at that country and being unable to make it to SmackDown on Fox. And many fans speculated about how WWE might be possibly looking forward to, severing relations with Saudi General Entertainment. Well, that's not the case, because just yesterday, WWE announced that they were expanding their partnership with Saudi General Entertainment. There's their press release. Following the historic Crown Jewel event in Riyadh, WWE and the Saudi General Entertainment Authority, the GEA, have expanded their live event partnership through 2027 to include a second annual large-scale event. WWE and GEA also continue to work towards the completion of a media agreement in the MENA region. I believe that's the Middle Eastern region. This long-term partnership demonstrates WWE and GEA's commitment to bring sports and entertainment to the region and support Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. And just to add to that, WWE has denied that the flight troubles coming out of Saudi Arabia following Thursday's Crown Jewel had anything to do with the rumors of, the Saudi government or this Saudi entertainment company owing them money on previous or on past events. They denied that, I believe, to Forbes. So making a bit of official statements, but it's kind of surprising to see WWE expand the relationship with the Saudi General Entertainment Company, simply because there's been so much backlash from fans, so much backstage drama with this whole delayed plane ride from Saudi Arabia, keeping talent at bay in Saudi Arabia. This whole, ever since the partnership was announced, the fact that women were not allowed to compete at these events. By the way, congrats to Natalya and Lacey Evans, and congrats to WWE and Saudi Arabia General Entertainment and the whole country for having, for the first time ever on pay-per-view, a women's match. They killed it. Could not be more proud of them both, and looking forward to future events having women's matches being a part of the event. And, one thing I've always said about this partnership is business, money is money, money is the bottom line. WWE is protecting their bottom line, and they're going to be making more and more money from this Saudi Arabia General Entertainment deal. That's the end of it. That's the bottom line. And we'll just have to wait and see which WWE superstars, which talent sticks around for the ride. Because, again, these are just rumors. They're not reports. They're not official. There are rumors going around that most WWE talent that was held up at Saudi Arabia during the weekend is planning on leaving WWE as soon as their contract comes up, because they do not want to be a part of these events any longer. So we're just going to have to wait and see what goes down with that. And again, Saudi Arabia, Crown Jewel, Thursday, over the weekend, the delayed plane ride. It's been all over the wrestling news, all over the place. And, it's got to continue, because AJ Styles has discussed on his Mixer gaming stream what happened from his perspective in Saudi Arabia. So again, I'm going to go into reading a few comments from AJ Styles. So, and I quote, excuse me, "We were supposed to leave after the show. We got to the airport. They weren't letting us on board. What was the problem? Not really sure. Heard there was a fuel truck on the way. The guy who drove the truck had left to go home. I know, this makes no sense. Why would the fuel guy leave if he knows he's got a plane that's leaving? Then there were some paperwork issues. Finally, after at least 4 to 5 hours, we get on the plane. Then they found something wrong. The fuel or something or another was broken. People can say what they want. It wasn't broken, but I talked to the pilot. On that 14-hour flight, the pilots, I guess they take naps as well. We were all chatting, sitting around on the flight, and he said, listen, there was a problem. That's a real thing. The problem was we spent all that time from 1 o'clock all the way to 6 or 8 in the morning waiting to board this plane. They are telling us we can't go anywhere because the pilots and everybody had timed out. They can only go so long before they are not able to fly, because they're not able to go 24 hours at a time. They had to go back to a hotel. We had to find a hotel." And he finalizes his comment on this entire situation with, "Were there guns? Were there people yelling everybody off the plane? No, that never happened. My wife called me in a panic. She's scared to death. I go, babe, listen, we're just not able to go anywhere. It's not a big issue. Nobody has threatened to kill us. There was none of that going on. Nobody was going to get murdered. It never happened. There was no threat of physical harm or anything like that." So apparently, AJ Styles, I believe, he's always been a company man ever since he was a part of TNA, ever since he was a part of Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling and now WWE. He's always been a company guy. But, and I'm not calling him a liar, most definitely I'm not calling him a liar, because I believe what he says, because ever since I've been a fan of AJ Styles, been a fan of AJ for the past 10 years, it's fair to say he's been a pretty honest man, at least from my point of view, so I kind of believe what AJ Styles has to say regarding the plane issues and the delayed flight, which again, like I said, and like I reiterate, I believe his, his statement on the situation. But one thing is to say that this does not bode well for WWE's planning, which is pretty noticeable, a pretty noticeable mistake on their part, because like I said, you know, they are the machine. You know, that's how they work. They plan everything out to the second, and WWE has pretty much posted a statement or made a statement public regarding Atlas. I believe Atlas is the name of the charter flight company. Regarding the technical issues, they pretty much blamed all those issues on that company, on Atlas. So again, on this entire situation, I believe AJ Styles, but this cannot happen again. Hopefully this will not happen again. And again, it's going to be interesting to see the next WWE event to take place in Saudi Arabia. What kind of talent will actually make the flight, will make the trip, will try to be a part of this show? Because in the past we've seen guys like Daniel Bryan not want to make the flight, and they pretty much stated that if you don't want to go to Saudi Arabia, if you don't want to compete at these events in that country, you don't have to. WWE is not going to make you. So that's a precedent set in the past. Again, gotta wait and see what happens in the next Saudi Arabia event to be held by WWE. And finally, tonight is Tuesday, which means Impact Wrestling has yet another episode on Access TV. And I gotta say, looking forward to this one, because last week, Sami Callihan became the brand new Impact World Champion, and tonight on Access TV, he has his World Championship celebration, and you can damn well guarantee that his OVE, Ohio versus Everything cohorts, Madman Fulton and the Chris brothers are going to be taking part in that entire celebration. It's going to be interesting to see if Tessa Blanchard comes out just like she did last week and challenges Callihan for the world title. And Brian Cage, he is the former champion. He is entitled to a rematch. He will get that rematch on November 9th, Saturday, November 9th, at Turning Point. Again, I've said this in the past. I usually don't care about these special Impact Plus pay-per-view, quote-unquote pay-per-view special events. Look, if it's not a proper pay-per-view in the form of Bound for Glory or Slammiversary, I pretty much don't care about it. I'm just being honest. I know I should care. I'm a fan of Impact Wrestling. I'll always be a fan of Impact Wrestling, but I don't like the production that comes with it. We mentioned in the past the production issues they had at All Glory during Bound for Glory weekend. That's not something I am looking forward to. So if they fix that, maybe I'll change my mind. But until then, Turning Point on Saturday, November 9th, Brian Cage versus Sami Callihan, the rematch. I might catch it on a replay. There's no chance in hell I'm going to catch it live. No chance in hell. And also, one thing working against that is that Saturday, November 9th is also the date of AEW's first pay-per-view after the Dynamite debut, which is Full Gear, so that they've got that working against them. So again, not looking forward to that event. And again, one more match announced for that Turning Point special event on Impact Plus is RVD versus Rhino. Couldn't care less about these ECW veterans. They're veterans, and I believe that as veterans, they should be there to put over the young guys. Eventually, they'll get to that. One thing I am interested in is, however, is Rob Van Dam as a heel. Rob Van Dam calling out Kenny Omega, calling out Seth Rollins, calling out the Young Bucks, calling them, I believe, the Petite instead of the Elite, calling them the Petites because they're smaller wrestlers than RVD, calling them out on the fact that RVD invented these high-flying moves, and the Petite, as RVD called them, were just stealing his moves and stealing his thunder. So very interesting promo on his part. Hopefully they can get through with this RVD versus Rhino feud that I'm clearly not interested in. And we'll just have to wait and see what RVD brings to the table as a heel, because so far, pretty damn interested for the first time since 2006. Pretty damn interested in the whole effing show. And finally, we've got, this entire situation. We've got Ken Shamrock, the most dangerous man in the world, facing off against the, I believe, Joey Ryan called it the most baddest or most dangerous manhood in the world. That's going to be quite a spectacle to see on tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling on AXS TV. We've got Michael Elgin versus Fallah Bahh. Boy, was it gold to watch and finally hear Fallah Bahh have a conversation. And gotta say that smoke that they're blowing in the Rascals treehouse, I believe they call it a treehouse, that's gonna work wonders, because Fallah Bahh's finally speaking, so they've got to keep those segments up. As far as Elgin versus Bahh, I believe Elgin gets the win over Bahh. Willie Mack versus Moose. Don't know where they're going with this one. Moose has got to get the win, because I believe Mack is still stuck in a tag team with Rich Swann. And Moose is a singles competitor. This is a singles competition, and if what we saw last week on AXS TV was any proof, the fact that Marufuji beat Josh Alexander just proves to me the point that Moose is going to get the win over Willie Mack tonight. So with that said, looking forward to Impact Wrestling on AXS TV tonight. Also looking forward to another episode of NWA Power on YouTube. So that's it for today's episode of ACB Wrestling Talk. What do you think about every single topic? Do you agree with WWE expanding their relationship with the Saudi General Entertainment company in regards to producing more events? Do you believe AJ Styles' statement regarding the delayed plane flight? What do you think about this whole NXT invasion playing out during WWE programming week in and week out? Are you going to be watching Impact Wrestling and NWA Power tonight? Leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions on the comments section below. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. I've been Alexis Carrillo. That's it for me. Till next time.